dating, and if they're dating, it's pretty than ever through these social channels. And most people are single by choice, of course. You know, there's a silent crisis where we don't put in the type of effort they used to put in back in the day to actually be with someone, right? Because it's too much of a burden or a hassle. And a lot of it may deal with a lot of the political things that are happening in the world, and just how chaotic things are when it comes to the job in the markets, and how you always have to stay focused, and there's this pressure of individualism to chase your dreams and put that above, you know, dating and things of that sort. But let me tell you, I've been paying attention. I've been looking and seeing that, you know, I've had even friends go to about 30, 35 until they get married and even start dating. uh, I want to know, why is it so important that we have these conversations? As you may be a single young man, and you may be on this video because you're wondering, why am I in a situation where my married sort of license ain't came through that mail, or I ain't went and picked it up downtown yet. Like, it's because you don't have the one, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Maybe God has this season for you to focus on where you are. And I think in the US it talked about 30% of people under 30 years old are single, and then 34% of women in that same age group are single. And that's a huge gap. But it's not just about relationships, it's about what's going on beneath the surface: isolation, confusion, addiction, a lack of purpose. All these things play into whether or not someone feels as though they're ready to be in a relationship, or even if they naturally get into one, because a lot of times, because they're lacking those things, they feel insignificant, and this is not the time for me to be in a relationship because I don't got my stuff together. So why are so many people single? Let's start with digital overload, digital and porn overload. Why pursue a real relationship when there's instant pleasure right when you tap into your phone? Many of you can go to YouTube, or you can go to OnlyFans right when you get into your phone. So therefore, I don't need a real sort of relationships. Many of you might say it's also an emotional detachment. You withdraw from real intimacy. The other thing I would say is fear of rejection, expectations not being met. There's a fear or an insecurity that you'll never be enough, or the person you're with will never be enough. They'll always lack. And maybe it's a lack of mentorship. Speaking of lack, maybe you didn't grow up with a strong father or mentors around you, or without guidance on what it looks like to be a real man and really be able to weather the storm with that person you're supposed to be with. And you just don't know that yet. But I also think it's the fast shift in the culture again. How can we love, lead, and protect and pursue the right things if we haven't seen it modeled to us, nor do we have that desire or passion to do that? Rather, we go off and we run and we try to do our own thing and learn through our own mistakes and experiences. And that's the hardest way to learn. You learn through other people's experiences, or the education that comes from the truth, which I believe is the Bible. But I think the real problem is that people aren't connected with God, number one. Number two, people aren't connected, with their purpose because they don't know God, and they suffer in silence and loneliness, and they wonder why they're depressed. They wonder why they're anxious, and even people have went to the extent of even suicide. Me being that person in the past that went through all that, I can be a credible person to say this is real stuff. And it not only affects men, but it affects women, it affects families, it affects the whole society as a whole. It affects the body of Christ as well. I'm not excluding Christians from this, me being a Christian, but I want to tell you this. This is what I want to tell you right now, and I want you to really stay focused on what matters most here. What can we do about this? Let's be solution minded. Let's start by having real conversations with other young men. Send this video to somebody and go get with your brothers. Meet up with them, lecture, have those conversations, teach each other emotional, intellectual, all those you need intelligence. We need to learn more. You need to tap into the Lord, pursue growth, pursue purpose, pursue healing in the areas that you need to be healed. And I know the most valuable thing that I've ever gotten outside of Christ himself was mentorship, men to get around me and to really hit me in the mouth whenever I didn't have it squared away, or even just meet me where I was. And there's so many things that want to show you, hey, go this route. Like even AI, there's people promoting AI porn through AI, which is disgusting. And this is the world we're living in. Go find the right people that's going to love you, love the hell out of you, right? So important. And also, when you're frustrated, when you feel ashamed, I want you to know this: you're not too broken to be fixed. You're not too alone that God can't meet you. Your story is not over, because who holds the pen? God holds the pen. He said, before a day had even come to be, God, my name was written in your book. God has written your story just like he wrote David's story way before it became to be. And David suffered and struggled through one of the most deadliest sins in his life, which was, there was many sins, but a sexual sin. He did a hookup, and he hooked up with one of his troops' brides, and he ends up having sex with her, getting her pregnant. And then when the man came back, because he didn't want to get found out, the guy he cheated on with his wife, with his friend's wife, the guy that was under his wing, he ends up killing him because he didn't want him to find out. That's how deadly and dark sin gets when we get separated from the Lord and we don't actually deal with our mess, and we live unhealed. And I don't want you to live unhealed. I want you to walk free and full. And Jesus Christ is that way for me. I don't know about you, but Jesus Christ changed everything for me. He showed me what wholeness was. He showed me what living a free life. He said, he who the Son sets free is free indeed. And I'm telling you, it changed everything for me. And I wanted to do that for you. So this stat might seem bleak. 66% of men are single. But let me tell you, the pain is just the beginning, but it's going to propel in a purpose that's going to awaken a generation to know that there is far greater for you doing things God's way than your own way. So let's just ask God to help us navigate through this sickening season where not everybody is supposed to be single. But we take things in our own hands sometime because it's the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life. We want to dominate different industries, whether it's in businesses or relationships, or even we have our own little agendas and goals. But what if God told you right now, this is just something to think about. What if he told you the very opposite thing that you're doing right now, and what you're doing right now, you're sacrificing on the bed of comfort, and you're losing out on what's actually greater, a greater gift than the single season that you may be going through, stuck in your sin, running around trying to do this and do that, trying to please the world and gain fame and all these different things. What if that never was the way God had for you? But I'm gonna let you chew on that. All right, guys, God bless you. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Stick around. We'll see you here real soon. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll have more coming to you. Peace.